So if you wanted a scrunchie that was fuller, you would just use wider, say 4 inches, maybe even 5 inches you could probably do. If you wanted a scrunchie that was more scrunched up, the fabric tighter scrunched up like this, you would make the fabric strip longer in the beginning. This is yours. You do it the way you want it. I quite like this narrower because I would imagine I would wrap it around my ponytail several times. I have to tell you, it is so funny for me to be making a scrunchie because I was making these as a child with my mother 40 years ago. Wore them all through my teen years in the 80s. So everything old is new again. Okay, so what I'm doing here is pulling this flat and pulling my raw seam allowance to the inside. So I'm just sort of pushing and pulling until that fabric is laying flat. This is sewn together here, but the stitching ends about here. And as you can see, that bit's open. So I'm just pulling it until it's all closed and flat. Now, I'm going to put a couple of pins in here just to keep it in place. And we will stitch very close to the edge all along here until we reach the other end, which this pin is right at the end of my stitching line there. And that's how I'll know when to stop. So we'll start down here. You are going to have to pull this a little bit this time because the elastic is making that bunch up. You can see how you couldn't sew that. So you're going to have to be pulling the elastic flat. So I'll get that under my presser foot. I want to go very close to the edge here. We're going to be locking our stitch by going back and forth. Now I'm using a contrast thread here so that you can see it. You will be using a thread that matches your fabric, and then the thread on this seam line will be hidden if you use a thread that's the same color as your fabric. Okay, right to the edge. We'll back tack this. Just a couple of stitches is plenty. Now, as I mentioned, I have a contrast thread here. Yours will look better than this because your thread will match. But I have just a straight stitch right along the edge. I did not catch the elastic. My elastic is down here at the fold so that it is free moving still, and that can scrunch up as the name would imply. There we go. That is your finished scrunchie. Super cute. I hope you enjoyed that.